Thank you, Sergeant. Let's call to order the the rescheduled monthly meeting of August 23rd, 2018. Have a roll call, please.
Mr. Barbarulo.
Here.
Dr. Cohen.
Here.
Mrs. Franco.
Present.
Mr. Klein.
Present.
Ms. Quackenbush.
Here.
Mr. Rosenberg.
No.
Mr. Spindell.
Present.
Mrs. Wallace.
Here.
And Mr. Banta.
Here, Mr. Rosenberg apologizes, but he had the nerve to go on vacation in Ireland, so he really cannot be here, and he wanted to, he actually texted me today, he said, please apologize. So, there we go. The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to advance notice of, to attend the meetings of the public bodies in which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Fair Lawn Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having a date, time, and place thereof distributed to the persons on the approved list, posted in the Board of Education Administrative Office, sent to the Bergen Record and the Star Ledger. The announcer posting for the rescheduled monthly meeting, along with the date, time, and place thereof, was distributed on August 8, 2018. The items to be discussed during closed working session of the August 23rd, 2018 rescheduled monthly meeting excuse me, may include personnel matters, student matters, legal matters, negotiations and/or grievances, and tactics and techniques utilized to protect public safety and property. The results of these discussions will be made public as soon as possible. Would you join me in a flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, at this time, I'm going to turn the meeting over to Nick Garcia, Superintendent, and he has an update and some comments.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Two short comments tonight. One's on the enrollment and border update. But before I do that, I just want to let everybody know that we're very excited about the opening of the school year. About 2 weeks away, not even 2 weeks, probably about 10 days away at this point. Yeah, who's counting, all right? Monday is new hire orientation. This summer, we hired 60 new staff members.
Yowza.
So yeah, busy summer, 60 new staff members in Fair Lawn. So
driving the bus?
I am, 3-point seatbelts. Yeah, so it's exciting. But soft border and enrollment updates, I just wanted to give you some bullet points of where we're at with it. I know that we discussed at the last meeting. So far, up into yesterday morning, we collected data today, but we had an open enrollment. We have 75 new families registering from yesterday over the next 2 weeks. So that's how many families have moved into Fair Lawn or waited to register the last 2 weeks of the summer. 75 new families. With that being said, and they very well could have been living in Fair Lawn, but just didn't register yet. So we have to take that in consideration when we're looking at our numbers. But without using those numbers, I want to back into it and let you know where we're at right now. So for every student that did come in and register up until yesterday has been placed in their school. They have been assigned to school. They know where they will be going. We added 3 additional teachers since the last board meeting. 1 kindergarten teacher at Milnes, 1 kindergarten teacher at Westmoreland, and a preschool disabled teacher at Edison. That allowed us to split classrooms where the class sizes we were alarmed with. They were over 25 into the 26 and 27 mark for kindergarten classes, so we split them and we were able to open up spaces. It also helped us with soft borders, and students were able to stay in their home schools. So as of yesterday, there were 67 students that were eligible for soft borders in Fair Lawn. 64 of them were able to go to their home school. So as of yesterday, we only had to soft border 3 students. So we're really, really proud of that. We're really happy with that. We made great strides, and we're happy that that's where we are. Now, we still have 75 students to register over the next 2 weeks. Mike Shansky and I took a look at it. There's no perfect science until those families come in. We still know, we're realistic to the fact that more students will be soft bordered, but we're confident that we won't have to split a classroom, and it all depends on where they fall grade level wise. Since compared to last year, 42 students were soft bordered in Fair Lawn. we only soft-boarded 3 students. So I'm just giving you a comparison. 3 right now, last year 42. So we're doing a better job with keeping our students in the home schools to the best degree possible. In addition, what we did, several students who were soft-boarded in the past were able to go back to their home schools. So we were happy about that as well. Several students were given an option, they requested it, and they were able to go back to their home schools as well. And a lot of students chose to stay exactly where they were. They met new friends, new connections, and decided that they wanted to stay where they were. So right now, that's where we're at with our enrollment and our soft-boarder numbers.
Thank you, Nick. Okay, action items begun on page 3. G1, approval of minutes. G2, second reading of policies. Motion for G1 and G2.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments, board members?
Not on this one.
Okay. Anybody, members of the audience on G1 or G2, questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Barbarulo?
Yes.
Dr. Cohen? Mrs. Frankel?
Yes.
Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush? Yes. Mr. Spindell?
Yes.
Mrs. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Banta?
Yes.
Brooke, I have to say yes. There was a delay and I missed it.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, thank you. S1 and 2 and 3 have no items. S4, approval of attendance at charter schools, various Bergen County academies and Bergen County technical schools. S5, other business. Motion for S1 through S5. So we'll-
Second.
Members of the board, S1 through S5, questions or comments? Members of...
I will make a comment about that. If anybody hasn't noticed, Tom's River just got hit with a major increase in their transportation, over $850,000 because of the kids that moved into the district that have to go to special schools. So just keep that in mind.
Tom's River?
Tom's River, yes.
Ouch.
$850,000.
That's a big place.
Isn't Tom's River really good?
Yeah, they got.
They really got zapped and
They're on a bad week.
Yeah. That's putting it mildly.
That's a different thing.
All right, anybody?
Just want to congratulate the graduating class.
Oh, yeah, good job.
Oh, yeah.
Go free.
Thank you. Members of the audience, S1 through S5, questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mrs. Frankel?
Yes.
Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Spindell?
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush?
Yes.
Mrs. Wallace?
Yes.
Dr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Barbarulo?
Yes.
And Mr. Banta?
Yes. E1, attendance at conference, conventions, workshops. E2, approval of extracurricular trips. E3, E4, no items. E5, curriculum, textbook, and material adoptions. E6, grants, entitlements. E7, no items. E8, summer programs, workshop, summer school. E9, other business. Have a motion for E1 through E9, please.
So,
Second.
Members of the board, questions, comments? Jeff?
just a couple of quick things. I really enjoy looking at page 11. Give everyone a second to get there. You know, it's amazing where high schools have gotten, and it's very pleasing to see how many classes and all the things that our high school is offering our young men and women. It looks like, almost like a college course sheet that you would go through with all these electives, and I think it's a really cool thing. The other thing is, I'd like to thank the administration for that, and Natalie specifically, because that is your domain. The other thing is, I'm really happy to see, to approve E9A, the marching band competitions. If you cannot make any of them, there is one at MetLife, and I believe they also will have a home one also, which is, I think, October 13th. Don't quote me on that. So, nice thing to see our kids continue to work there. So, that's all I got.
Thank you, Jeff.
You got it.
Any other board members? Members of the audience, E1 through E9, questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mrs. Frankel?
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Spindell?
Yes.
Mrs. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Barbarulo?
Yes.
Dr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Klein?
Yes.
And Mr. Banta?
Yes. P1, approval of ratification of appointments. P2, approval of resignations, retirements. P3, approval of leave of absence, amendment of leave of absence, rescission of leave. P4, change of personnel assignment status. P5, additional remuneration. Okay, thank you. P6, other business. Can I have a motion for P1 through P6?
So moved.
Board members, questions, comments?
Just one quick comment.
Yes, Jeffrey.
You know, it's really nice actually to see, looking at the list of personnel that's coming in, that some of them have started here as in other, I guess, less titled jobs, for lack of a better word, to see them moving up, that our hiring practices extend into that realm also. So it's gratifying to see that we have those people at all levels. It builds confidence.
Question,
Yes, Mayor.
on what page does that end? I have to scroll. I don't have pages.
31.
31.
It ends on
That's what I
page
thought.
31.
I'm much slower than everybody else, so I'm getting scrolled down. Thank you.
You're welcome. Ron?
Question, the approval of the resignation retirements, there's just employee numbers. Are these ones that we had been presented already, or is that, or are these new people? No, the only reason I'm asking is that a lot of times we have resolutions for retirees, and why don't we have, like, we don't know, I know why there's employee numbers, but why don't we have resolutions for these people? That's what I'm curious.
You mean the whole big, long resolution?
Yeah.
That's only for people with 10 or more years of service.
Oh, so these people are not 10 or more years? Thank you.
Anyone?
Yeah, that's,
Members of the audience, questions, comments on P1 through P6? I just want to say that it's also very nice to see so many of our teachers go beyond just the BA. BA 15, MA, MA plus 15, MA 30, and I think it's well over 50% of our teachers have advanced degrees.
Absolutely.
I think it's like 2/3.
It's like 70, high 70s. 71%.
Yeah, so that's very impressive, that they continue to go to school and to learn and to get more degrees. So, very impressive. Yes, Ron?
I'm sorry, one more question.
Sure.
On the groundsman, we were talking about earlier, Tyler Semmer, I see a date there. Is he hired full-time?
What page are you on, Ron?
Page 22. Is he hired full-time now, or is he?
Yeah, anytime you see a change, it's generally due to the criminal history review process.
It's the effective date.
All right, so,
Yeah.
well, I'm saying we have it for 1 week, so we're waiting for that to come back to make it official, and the salary and all that stuff? Is that
We
what-
had to wait for his prints to go through and get
Okay,
a clean
so the
background.
next month we'll see it as listed as salary and all that other stuff, will that what we
He
see?
He
was
on.
appointed
He was on.
last
Oh, was he?
month,
Yeah.
and this is just.
So I know who he is, but I was just
Yeah,
curious.
we had to change the effective date due to the
Okay.
lack of
Thank you.
criminal history.
Any more board members? Members of the audience? Questions, comments? Seeing none. Other business? I'm sorry, roll call. I'm jumping ahead.
Okay, Mr. Barbarulo,
Yes.
Dr. Cohen,
Yes, abstain on P1A.
Mrs. Franco,
Yes.
Mr. Klein,
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush,
Yes on everything, abstain on P4B.
Mr. Spindell,
Yes.
Mrs. Wallace,
Yes.
and Mr. Banta.
Yes. SC1, approval of tuition transportation. SE2, approval of bedside home instruction for classified students. SE3 and 4, no items. SE5, approval of summer employment 2018 for child study team for special education staff. Motion through SE1 through SE5.
So moved.
Board members, questions, comments? Was there a second? Oh, there's no second.
Second.
Okay.
Still waiting for someone else.
Questions or comments? Board members? Seeing none. Members of the audience, questions or comments on SE1 through SE5? Roll call, please.
Mr. Barbarulo,
Yes.
Dr. Cohen,
Yes, but abstain on SE5A.
Mrs. Franco,
Yes.
Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Spindell?
Yes.
Mrs. Wallace?
Yes.
And Mr. Banta?
Yes. F1, approval of acceptance of gifts grant fund. FE2, discards. F2, discards. F3, approval of bills payable payroll. F4, approval of bills payable. F5, approval of board secretary report. F6, approval of board treasurer's report. F7 and F8, no items. F9, approval of contracts, consortiums, cooperatives.
So
Oh, we got to hold.
Yeah, we got a couple pages.
F9, E, and F.
F9, E, and F will be held. So when we vote on it, we without F9, E, and F, because we have to talk about that in closed session. F10, approval of purchasing. F11, other business. Motion for F1 to F11.
So moved.
Second.
Members of the board, questions or comments?
I'll beat Mary to the punch. We'll thank Clays for the programs that they presented this summer for the extended school program. Okay, Mary?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Uh,
Mary,
Hi.
Emily?
Can I speak or does someone else have their hand up?
Nope, you're good. Go ahead.
Okay. I just wanted to ask the administration that once the E and F regarding the special 3 officers is completely settled based on subsequent conversation to be had, and the administration has more details, that there be like a plan for communicating the addition of the SR3s in the elementary schools to the community through our community relations person and function. I think that's an issue that's of great importance to community members, and that is something that would be great if the district would, once they're ready, to be able to communicate clearly about how all of the considerations for that expansion have settled out.
Well, I think that's a very good idea, Emily. We should publicize that once we have it all set up. And Nick will talk to Liz, and we'll get to work on it. Good idea. Thanks, Emily. Anything else? As long as I got
Thank
you.
you.
Mary?
Are we at the bottom of page 41?
Yes.
Thank you.
Ron?
Oh,
Emily, did you want it?
yeah, sorry. This is the approval of course offerings and faculty for the community schools, correct? It's part of this vote?
Yes. F11.
Okay, great, yes. So I think it's, wonderful that we have the courses that are going to be offered through the community school. I know there are community members who are looking on the website for what's going to be offered and anticipating with enthusiasm, participating in those programs. And I want to share this comment for the board and administration consideration, not to intend that I am not fully supportive of the community school and what it's offering this fall. I just wanted to introduce the idea for longer term planning purposes that in Fairlawn we have several community entities that do enrichment and learning for our students and for people of all ages. For example, Parks and Rec, the library, the Senior Center, private organizations like Fairlawn All Sports, and the community school. And I just wanted to kind of introduce the idea, and I'm happy to talk with people about this idea further outside of our precious group time together for the board meeting, to eventually be able to get the leaders of all these organizations, including the board, the community school, to review what's being offered across these different entities and ensure that the offerings are meeting the needs of diverse residents in terms of interests, in terms of ages, in terms of neighborhoods within Fairlawn, that perhaps if there was a little bit more coordination, we could work through our strengths of the different organizations that are offering these programs, get some cross-marketing or an integrated calendar. It's very fragmented right now, I think, for many in the community, especially for people who are new to taking advantage of these resources, to have to understand, like, this counts through Park and Rec, but this counts through the school districts, and I think it's, again, it's not to say that these programs are duplicative or don't serve different, are serving the same needs. That's not what my comment says. I just think with a little bit of coordination, we might be able to seize the opportunity to use resources even more efficiently and to be able to identify gaps that none of the organizations might be covering as well as they could, and make the Fair Lawn community network of learning opportunities richer for more people. So I just wanted to share that thought now, given that this is on the agenda for tonight. The
Thank you.
approval of the courses.
Can I just respond?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, yeah.
Yeah, Emily, we have, during our sessions with the entire group membership, and this year we do have a membership of probably about 7, 8 people who have attended. We try to have been as diverse as possible to offer as many courses as possible to meet the needs of the district. However, there have been times when there has been very little desire to want to take these courses, and there were many, many more that were offered, but that had to be just, discarded because there was no interest shown. Also, there's a lack of individuals who can teach the particular courses. But I will bring back your ideas to Mr. Shansky, and perhaps we can have a session just with the community involved with it as well, to discuss what their desires are for the next time we do, set up our courses.
Thanks, Mark. I appreciate that. I just want to make it really clear exactly what my idea is about, because just reflecting back on what you said, maybe I'm not as clear as I need to be at this point. It's less about anything specific the community school was offering or not offering, and more about like step back and think of the community school as one component of a larger system or network of organizations that are offering similar types of enrichment and learning. So like, what's the relationship between the community school, Parks and Rec, library, senior center, Fair Lawn All Sports? Like, how much are they aware of what each other is offering? How much are they cross-promoting? Are there areas that, that aren't being met across the 5 or serving different needs? Like, I guess what, like to make it a little bit more concrete, if people were open to the idea, I think this would benefit the people of Fair Lawn, for sure, is if there was some kind of like consortium or meeting of the leaders of those different entities to start just building a little bit, like something as simple as a joint calendar, for example, like a calendar that shows like all the programs offered for kids K through 5 or something, and in one place where, so community members don't have to be checking the community school brochure, the flyer for all sports, what is Parks and Rec doing, like just to streamline it a little bit, to make it easier for the community person who really probably doesn't care so much if it's offered by one organization or the other. They probably just care, is it a good quality program at a day and time that works for my schedule, right? So that's more the idea, of a little bit more collaboration and coordination across the organizations, not saying that the community schools should or should not be offering anything more or less of what they're already doing great at, it sounds like. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'll bring that back to Mr. Shansky, and we'll try to set up a meeting for all.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Emily, anything else?
No, thank you.
Okay. Ron?
2 things. One, F10A, purchase order. What's the transit passenger wagon for? I apologize for not calling you earlier today. I must have missed that, but
That's
this
okay.
is what
So
we're
that's a
using it for.
van, so there's a
I know what
different,
it is.
yeah. So it's a van
Yes, I know what it is, but I want to know what we're using it for.
It's what we use for student transport. So if we have a special education student that maybe rides by himself or herself, the length of time we're allowed to keep buses versus vans is a different length of time. So this is one of the vehicles that was coming offline. So we had to replace it.
Oh, so we have one now.
Yeah, and we can still keep that and use it, but just not for student transportation.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's clarify that. We're keeping the van. I know you know.
Keeping the van.
We're keeping the van for our own use.
Deliveries
for
amongst the.
buildings and grounds, yeah, okay.
Exactly, but for student transport.
I wanted to clarify that
Yeah.
we were replacing the one that we have, and
It
what
could
the
be for
purpose
a
was, so
couple of
everybody-
students or. yeah.
I understand, I just want to make sure everybody else knew.
Okay.
And the community knew about that. All right, thank you.
Thanks.
I had something else, but I'm not going
Okay.
to do it right
Any other board members? F1 through F11? Members of the audience, F1 through F11? Maybe you could just step up to the podium, state your name. Do we have
New
signage?
We have a sign.
new
Guys, please
podium.
sign
New
in.
podium.
We have a new podium.
Staple.
I'd like,
Is this up for tonight? You guys gonna approve
I'd like to thank you, because I was gonna get very upset if we got a new podium and nobody stood up tonight and used it. So I was a little nervous.
Actually, everybody.
it? David Trotter, 310 Allison Street. Couple of questions. Why are you delaying the approval of the special police till closed session? Is that something you can answer?
We're going to discuss in closed session, and then we'll come back out and
Or is you
vote
going
on it.
tonight on it?
Yes,
Okay.
we're going to go into closed session, discuss it, and come back out and vote on an open session.
Okay. It's nothing you can explain
No.
in terms of why the issue.
Not right now.
Also, why was there an interim, or I guess not an interim, but in terms of the school safety specialist, that the position was created on July 1st and you hired someone to August?
No, actually, Governor Murphy just added an amendment to the law, where originally when the law came out, it had to be a school administrator. He just changed the law now to say that it did not have to hold, somebody did not have to hold a school administrator certification. So with us hiring a director of security, it made a lot more sense to change it from Camille, who's in the back, to the director of security. After Camille went to 5 days of training, I think he changed the law. We have a backup.
Yes, you're at home, man.
So now you have two of them.
Yeah, exactly. But it makes a lot of sense, and we're very happy they changed it.
Okay. Any other board members? I mean, audience members, questions, comments? Yes, we can just step up, sign in, state your name.
Kathleen Sola, 14 Andover Place. When Dr. Cullen was mentioning all the different offerings, like for after-school programs and stuff, I just want to be sure that students at Edison School are given the same, again, you talked about that online paperless, right, exactly. But I think at some point last year, there were kids here at Edison that I teach that were claiming that they didn't get the same information that was also sent to the elementary school. So I just don't know if that comes, where
Absolutely.
that comes from, but it's,
Thank you.
I'll attest to that. Did not receive communications from the town at all last year. 2 years we were at it.
Come on up.
I don't, it's just, there's something in here that's just for board members only that I don't know you want everyone to have. There's a couple pages, so we all have now.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't hear that.
It's, some, in the agenda, Mary.
There's a list of names.
There's a list of, it's,
North Jersey Symphony Orchestra.
staff on, it says for board members only.
Okay, Paul says it's fine.
It's fine.
Paul says it's fine, it's public.
Thank
Thank
you
you
for
for
pointing
pointing
that
that
out.
I
out.
was gonna give you mine before I left.
Okay, any other members of the audience? Have a roll call, please.
Mr. Barbarulo,
Yes.
Dr. Cohen,
Yes.
Mr. Klein,
Yes.
Mr. Spindell.
Yes.
Mrs. Wallace,
Yes.
Mrs. Franco,
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush,
Yes.
and Mr. Banta.
Yes. Okay, this time I'm gonna turn over the floor to any members of the audience gonna speak about any issue you like, so. What? Yeah, but I like to do the audience first. Anyone? David? Sign in again, or?
Sign again.
Or just, maybe put like a,
Well, it's-
yeah, a hash mark next to it.
Tally sheet.
I want to, just based on your comment, just 75 families, you said have a relative. That could be more than
I believe it's 75 students.
75 students.
Yeah.
So in terms of sophomores, there could end up being many more sophomores than, you said 42.
I have no crystal
You know,
ball.
no,
but I have no
yeah.
crystal ball, but I anticipate there's gonna be more sophomore
Yeah,
students.
okay.
Do I think 75 students are gonna be sophomore?
No,
No,
absolutely, yeah.
but I do think that there's going to be an increase. But the good news is, like I said, we're at 3.
But were you able to identify where that, I mean, if you don't,
I don't-
know where they are then, right? I mean, you don't know.
We have an idea. We have an idea, but I don't want to go out there because I'm not sure if the paperwork was completely filled out or whatever, so they really just made appointments. So over the next 2 weeks, we'll know. So I'll do another update probably in September, exactly where we're at with it and how many we did so far. The good news, like I said, and I'm not going to rely solely on data, but the data shows that it's not significantly what we were at last year. But I have no way of knowing because we, like I said, 75 students waited till the last 2 weeks, and we don't know who's going to move in September as well.
They're not all kids, they're not all kids.
They're not. No, that I can tell you. No, they're spread out. No, they're spread out. Kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth.
That's what the kindergarten
No.
kids are the ones that usually go late, you have to register.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, they're actually spread out throughout. They're spread out throughout the grades.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh, wait. She hasn't had a chance to speak yet, so come on up.
Hi, I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Erica Moulton. I'm a new hire at Edison as the preschool inclusion teacher.
Welcome.
Nice
to meet you.
We'll see you again in September.
Yes.
You'll see her Monday.
Next week.
I'll see you Monday, but we'll all see you in
I'll be here
September.
Monday. Yes, Monday morning, bright and early.
It's nice of you to
It's the
come.
first time.
I can't wait.
You know, can I say?
Yeah, go ahead.
That's the first time. That's the first time we've ever had that I can recall a new teacher coming in and doing that.
Really?
So I really appreciate it. I think it's awesome.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
special welcome to our
Yeah.
community.
There we
Thank
go.
you.
You win a new podium.
That's right.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a door prize.
Okay, come on up.
A miniature
I
podium.
have to use the podium.
Yes, you have to use the
Sign it,
podium.
please.
It's the rule.
We paid for it. No, we paid for it.
We slipped a 20 out of your purse. when you wanted to.
0.001% of it.
Sorry, my name is Lily Walker. Christine Weinstein, Burbank Street. I just had a quick question regarding before care and after care. I had something come up on the Facebook page that I saw, a comment, and I know that everything is, family and, individualized and such, but they were told that they were denied before and after care because of their child's challenges. And I think that just they couldn't support the child. I don't know exactly what school it was in, but I'm just curious to hear, is this the norm? Is special education not really supported in our before and after care programs? Is that just something they can't do? Or is there a specific school that does it? I don't even know the big need for it for special education. I haven't investigated it that far, but I saw that and it kind of struck a nerve with me just because I hate to see family denied just because their child may have a tantrum or not be able to
That's
regulate
news to me, and I would ask that if you did see something like that, have them reach out to one of the administrators. Mr. Frankel's in the back, Dr. Esney, myself, just have them reach out to us or Mr. Shansky, and we'd be happy to get back to them. Yeah.
But I will say, I think it's going to depend on the disability.
Absolutely.
There are some kids that you're not going to be able to take care of it.
No, of course not.
But-
I know that.
But Ms. Norcia is right, that they should reach out to the administration and figure it out.
All right, thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. Any other members of the audience? Okay, seeing none, board members, comments, questions. Mark?
I have a question and also a comment. The question I have is, we talked probably back in May or June about future-ready schools. So I just wanted to know, where do we stand with that? Have applications been filled out? Is every school participating?
So we actually have a detailed timeline. We're still talking about possibly taking the pledge in September at the board meeting. We will be meeting with, we have an administrative retreat this coming Wednesday, and we'll be meeting with our administrators to discuss it, put building-wide teams together, a district-wide team first, building-wide teams, needs assessment, and take the pledge and lay out the timeline for the year. So we're still on track, and we should have more information at the September board meeting.
Will it be implemented this year?
No, how it works is, we'll take the pledge to say that we're actually going to take the time to become a future-ready district, and we will then write our action plan. We'll do a needs assessment. Where are we at? What would it take to become a future-ready school? And then we'll take the whole year to work on hitting that goal for hopefully the following school year.
Okay. And the other question is, I mentioned that at our last board meeting about mindfulness, and Natalie had said that some of our schools are already participating in some of the classrooms. I wanted to know if we could possibly have every school and every grade participate in this. I have this paper over here that is from the Broward County school district in Florida. And they specifically are stating what I've stated in the past, that it produces enhanced concentration, clearer thinking, better decision-making for all the kids, and it basically reduces the amount of stress and amount of aggression within them. And I think by us participating in mindfulness, we're going to see that we're going to be reducing the number of mental health cases that we get, and we're spending a ton of money on mental health. So I don't know how the other board members feel about this, but I am a strong believer in this, that we really should enter into this and have every kid available to take part in it.
Can you send some information about that to the board members?
I have this over here that I wanted to give to, I guess, Natalie or so, regarding the website that she can get information, a telephone number
Well, if you
from.
give it to, I'm speaking for myself, but the rest of the board members, I'd like to look into it. Not saying I would support it, but I'd like to.
Okay. I will,
I mean, there's certainly components of it in our Sanford Harmony program, and our health programs, and again, there's lots of pieces.
I'm sorry, I cannot understand either Mark or I think Natalie speaking. I can't hear it.
Sorry, Mary, I'll try to speak up and face that way. I was
I can
saying
hear
that-
it now.
Yeah, thanks. I do have a loud voice. What I was saying was that we do have so many components of this throughout the school in a variety of areas, whether it's health, whether it's our social emotional learning, Sanford Harmony piece we're putting into play. So it's certainly something we can look into, and I can take a look at it. Again, we have many, many initiatives going on right now that incorporate so much of this. It's not just mindfulness on its own or, a specific program like that. We have it in parts of our curriculum already, but you want to bring me information, I'm happy to look at it. It's certainly not something we can do overnight.
No,
But certainly, I think we've talked about the importance of that kind of stuff, and even growth mindset has been a big push here for several years. We presented on it, I think Dana Clark presented on it a couple of years ago at an education committee meeting. And the whole point is to empower children and get them to say, I can't do it yet. And it's all about mindfulness and a growth mindset. So it's been quite pervasive in our elementary schools throughout the district. So there's a lot of that that's connected, not just mindfulness, but it is mindfulness and growth mindset.
I understand that. I don't know how much watered down the other part is. This is specifically mindfulness. Let me just give the board members, if they want to write down, or anybody else, the website for this particular one from Broward County. It's go.headspace.com/Broward. go.headspace.com/Broward.
Okay.
And you can find some information on that.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. Good.
Yeah, just a couple quick things. I know this is a time where, especially after the referendum and all our financial discussions that we've had in the last month, that, we're sensitive to these things, and I want to make it clear to the public that, I was able to listen to our business administrator earlier today be mindful of the same thing. So I want to use this as an example to assure the community that this is really going on. And can I out you on this, bro?
I don't know what it is, but.
What's ours?
Okay, sure.
That even the little things like finding furniture and the things that we need for our classrooms and our offices will be found in the cheapest way possible. As a matter of fact, one of them today actually went to a liquidation, not today, this month, went to a liquidation sale at a chain that has recently been defunct,
Yeah.
sadly, although I'm a little upset you didn't get the giraffe also. I really think the giraffe would have been cool. But I'm one of those people that's is mindful of the money, and I really appreciate that you're going out of your way. And I think that the town should know that that's at least a symbol of how we're doing business here. So it's really greatly appreciated. So there's that. Two, we missed one of the teachers actually who's on the list moving up. We missed one that got her PhD. that moved up to her PhD. So I think that, I don't know if I'm allowed to mention her name, so I won't, but it is in the minutes there, and I think this individual deserves a special congratulations for moving up to her doctorate. So I think that's, you know, real nice, and I'm sure that his or her students will benefit from that. 3, a question about volunteers in the district. I got a question from a resident who's a retired, I believe he's a child psychologist. He's retired now, and he wishes to work in the school community. Now that we're on an initiative and we want to bring these people into school, can people like that actually volunteer their hours as psychologists inside our schools? This individual does not want pay.
Well,
He wants to work with kids.
We do accept volunteers in many different areas, and if they're in the educational realm, they do have to be fingerprinted.
Mhm.
Yes.
So I can say yes, and
I
who
don't
should
know
I have?
exactly what capacity, if we could use them as a psychologist, because
Right.
they're a licensed, I mean, is that
Cool.
allowed, Paul?
Yeah, I mean,
That's a little tricky.
it is tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty tricky question.
I don't know if he has a school certificate or not, but who should I have him call?
Well, he can call me, and then Paul and I can discuss
Okay,
it.
I will get back to him. I know, I was like, I don't know. And the last thing is, I just want to get back onto a previous conversation that I had. More books in the classrooms, that we continue, I have to discontinue the conversation that I would like the schools, not the PTAs, to be putting books inside the classrooms, because whether they're not overtly part of the curriculum or not, which I believe they are because of the kind of reading programs we use, I believe that the more books we have in there, the better. And if the principal feels the need for the PTO to supplement that, then there is in fact a need that we should be fulfilling, not the fundraisers and buying brownies and things like that. So again, I want to bring that back to the table. I want to be persistent with this, because I really do believe that we should be putting more of those books in the classrooms. It should not be PTOs buying books and school materials. That's not their job. I believe it's the board's job. So I want to continue to bring that forward. That being said, I'm done with my comments. I thank you for your indulgence.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Hand raised.
Hand raised, okay, Mary.
All right, no, I just wanted to make 2 comments. First, I'm happy to say that the next meeting I will be able to see you face to face. I hate this being on the telephone, because you get a lot from people's expression, you get a lot from facial and contact, and I hate this being on the phone, so I'll see you soon.
Mary, we're all sticking our tongues at you now.
And the second thing is, while I do understand what Mr. Klein is saying, and basically I agree that anything that is essential should be provided, I just want to add that people like to contribute, they like to volunteer, they like to get books and give books to the classroom, and I don't think that while we as board members certainly should be making sure, and I know that we do, I know that the principals ask for the right books, I know that the teachers ask for everything they need, and I have always felt that this was simply supplementing, and a sense of contributing is an important thing to allow people to do. So, I partly agree with Mr. Klein, but partly I think we also have to respect that people want to give, they want to donate, they want to do this for the district.
Thank you, Mary. Elise?
I just want to say that I hope that as far as, stocking the classrooms that we're doing that, but I also know that we give teachers like an allowance, and then they can order what they want, so we're not forcing them to order something. One teacher might want X and another teacher might want Y, and they have the prerogative to do that. But as far as the books goes, the new push with the new,
Yeah, I forgot what it's called.
curriculum, no, that we're using, every class, kids used to go to the library, there were a couple books in the classroom, but the new curricula has these requirements of having books in the classroom So every classroom in the elementary grades needs to have a library. And I know several elementary teachers, and I know when I garage sale, I take books out and I level them, because you can go on the website to level them, and then I give them to where they're appropriate, 3rd grade, kindergarten, 4th grade, and I have fun doing that. And so to tell me that I can't do that, I think is not the correct way to go about it, because these are books that people are getting rid of. You tell them they're for school, they give you 10 for $1, they don't get, you know what I mean?
That's not what's happening.
But it does happen, and I'm just saying, I think that stocking the rooms with books is great, and if we supply what is necessary as far as books, you know, for the classrooms hopefully, and then, you know, what is additionally put into a classroom, because I know teachers, they switch mid-year, so they have different books, like, you know, for the students to pick from, and it's like a whole culture of being in an elementary school today.
Right, so we have leveled libraries, which is I think what you're both perhaps talking about. So we have leveled libraries for all the various grade levels that are connected to the curricula. In recent years, we've been looking to add more nonfiction books, because our science series, for example, a great deal of that content also gets incorporated into our reading time, because there's not as much time in the schedule for social studies and science topics. And so we find ways during the day to bring that into our reading. So they do have the appropriate content at various reading levels for the students. So those are the types of things that we purchase for the classrooms. In the past, we've purchased some additional materials through our Title I funds. I think last year or the year before, we had purchased some additional level libraries for the students. We can always use more. Definitely the more that we have, you know, the better. So we do try to add to them as much as possible.
All right, Mark, and then Jeff.
What I think Mr. Klein is saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that these amounts of monies that are being used for the books should not be supplanting what the Board of Education is responsible for buying. So if these leveled readers and these literacy centers need X, Y, and Z books, then the principal should be buying these particular items for the classrooms. It shouldn't be that the teachers feel they did not have the capability of ordering them, and therefore they're going to use that money from what's being provided from the PTO. I think that's what you're saying. That was his concern.
Yeah. To clarify, by no means do I think people should not be volunteering and giving books to schools, libraries, whatever. That is definitely not what I'm saying. I don't want to be misquoted on that. I believe that, well, two things. One, I've spoken to PTO presidents about this, and they're buying new books. They're ordering these books based on the principal's request. That's what's getting me. So what I worry about is the precedent that's being set with this. Today it's books. What's tomorrow? So the PTA buys books today because they need them, but tomorrow we need science equipment. Let's go to the PTOs and get the science equipment. And so again, that bothers me a little bit. If the principal says we need these things, the Board of Education should be buying them. It shouldn't be, especially something as simple as books.
And I think, and I completely agree, I guess I would just be interested in knowing, maybe we can talk later.
Sure,
about
I'd be
what
happy
we
to.
have.
You got my number.
Nick just leaned over and said, you guys are gonna look into it.
We will look
Because
into it
I don't
because
think.
If it's part of our curriculum, we purchase it.
I
If it's
know.
something a principal wants as extra,
But it's more ambiguous
then
now.
it's different.
No, all right, that's what I wanna
That's what I
clarify,
need to clarify.
that,
Yes,
my, clarify that
yes.
if it's part of the curriculum, we buy the
Buy it,
books.
absolutely.
We're not asking the PTAs to go out and buy math textbooks or science books or books that have to be read in the classroom.
So can I
But-
give an example? So
Yeah.
at one of our
Mhm.
buildings, they do one school, one book, one school, whichever way they say it. And what they do is, all the students, all the teachers, all the staff members, the custodians, they all read a book. Now, that's not part of our curriculum, but if that principal was hoping to do something, that might be something. I'm not saying that the person did ask PTA, but I'm saying that might be an example of, I want to do something extra above and beyond. And so they might ask a PTA for something special, extra, in that case, but I would be concerned we should be purchasing
Right.
curricular materials.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and I appreciate you looking into that.
Yeah.
And again, I would also argue that if it's part of the overall objectives and goes to the core curriculum, then it may not be extra really. Maybe kids are reading and reading a lot, and it's what they need to do to continue to be more successful throughout their school years. So I don't believe at all that any books are unnecessary. I think all books are necessary and should be provided by us.
Ron?
First of all, from my understanding, in years past, when my kids were, especially in elementary schools, they had book fairs, and the PTAs or PTOs would buy books, like you were just saying, extra books for if they were doing a readathon or different things like that. If that is happening, okay, I don't want to sit here and say, let's blame the board or even the administration. The building principal knows what they need. They get a budget every year from the district, from the BA. Put it in your budget. If it's not, then go to the superintendent BA and say, well, we need extra stuff. If our principals are not doing that, which I don't think they are not doing that, if anything, that's shame on them, okay? We cannot do things, well, first of all, we don't run it, but the administration can't do things if they don't know. They're short books. And let's be honest, I understand, I'm not an educator, but I do understand that there are a lot of curriculum that needs books, but there are a lot of curriculums not using books that much either. They're going to an online type of thing. So, you know, it just, exactly that, the PDOs and PTAs of each school raise funds for whatever they feel is necessary for that school and or else the district. And if they need those extra books, not books for the curriculum, but extra books for something else, I think they should be able to do whatever they want. They raise the money. And they talk to their teachers, and they talk to their principals, and they tell them what they're looking for. So, I mean, the Snappy, who's been president of the PTA Council, has been around for a long time, might be able to enlighten all of us on this, but I'm just saying, that's just the way I look at it. I respect, Jeff, what you're saying, because I agree, I don't want to see them buying it, but I just think we all have to clarify and get on the same page. I think there's a lot of stuff going around, confusing a lot of people.
Michelle had her hand up. Michelle is president of PTA Council. She's going
Please
to...
state your name and where you live.
Michelle Nappy. I just want to clarify, the PTAs and PTOs are not supposed to purchase anything that is required by the curriculum. So that's textbooks, that's materials for science, that's staff salaries. The only thing that's the gray area, the nurses for field trips, which we have started. The problem was 8 years ago when we lost a whole lot of money, we were starting to be asked to donate things we had never done before. So I think now that the money's coming back, you guys are like, we have the money for that. Well, 8 years ago we didn't, and we were doing it. So it's not that we're, you know, doing things that we're not supposed to. It was, there was no money back then to do these things. But I think maybe you let your principals know that we're this. I don't know how the money works. I just, you know, PTAs, we have money, we can figure it out. But there are certain things we're not supposed to do. So hopefully now that there's some money coming back into the district, we won't have to, and we can put it towards other things. We do a lot with books because we do the Scholastic Book Fairs. And we get more money if we donate books as opposed to taking just cash donations. So it makes sense for us to give the books to the schools. The Scholastic Book Fairs, Mr. Barbarulo was mentioning, the teachers do wish lists. You also have to realize you have classes of 24, 25 kids, you have 1 or 2 books of, you know, all the kids want to read it. You have 1 or 2 books. We may purchase extra ones for them. So, you know, I think it just needs to be looked at, and I think I need to discuss with you the donations also, and where we are with that. But it's not that we're doing stuff, we're being asked to do stuff we shouldn't. It was making money for that.
I wasn't accusing you.
No, I'm just saying, there's
Right.
things we're not really supposed to be doing.
I understand.
And we kind of were, even though it's kind of a gray area.
I
It's going to
understand.
the schools, so for my, you know, in my opinion, it's fine. But I agree, anything that's required by the curriculum should not be purchased by
Right.
the PTAs.
Thank you,
I just
Michelle.
wanted to add one quick thing. There were 2 things that we did to kind of safeguard for those types of concerns that you have, that we also have in administration. One of those was that we wanted all curricular items to be budgeted and come out of Natalie's office. That way we're ensuring that every school is getting the curriculum, the same exact curriculum, same exact books. The second thing we did was we did revise our donation form, which is what Michelle was referring to. And part of the reason we wanted to do that was because we want to know what's actually being donated. Because sometimes it is done, if it's if it's a small level, people do it without really thinking about it. But we want to just be aware, and Nick, and your policy, the board policy actually says that the superintendent has the last authorization. So, those are the two things we've kind of done to look at it. So you're right on target with what your concerns are, and those are also our concerns. We want to make sure that we are budgeting correctly and that curriculum is being met. And
Thank you.
Okay, any of the board members on any other items?
I'd like to speak.
Emily, go ahead.
Okay, great. So just two follow-up comments. One is to thank the people who completed the board survey on possible modifications to our committee structure and processes. 5 of the 9 of us have completed that survey already, and I just want to remind those who haven't yet to ask you to do so by the end of August, which will give Jean and me sufficient time to kind of organize the results, give them to Matt Lee, and have them ready for productive conversation at our fall retreat. So because I can't see everybody, is there any questions or concerns that anyone wants to raise about that request now?
Elise had her hand up.
Yeah, I just want to, as a board member, I want to see all of the answers. I don't want to see a synopsis of the answers. I'd like to see the actual answers that people gave. I don't want to see a synopsis, a gathering of the answers.
Me too.
I want to see the actual, what
I don't
people
think
wrote
that
for
will be a
each
problem.
question.
The only thing is that we want to make sure the responses remain anonymous. So if there's any concern that people might have inadvertently identified themselves
Then
through
you
your direct quote.
can redact that, I don't really care, but I'd like to see what people wrote, not just a paragraph, 6 people thought this and 4 people thought that. I'd like to actually read the comments
We'll do both.
that people
We'll do
made.
both.
Right, you could make some synopsis, but
Yeah.
I'd like to see the actual answers.
Sure. I
Okay.
don't think there's going to be a problem.
Okay, that's fine.
Me too.
Or you can send it electronically, you don't have to print it or anything like that, however,
Okay. Chalkboard?
Great.
Okay, Emily? Anybody else had a question for Emily on it? No? Okay, Emily, you got anything else?
Okay, the other item to follow up on is the materials that I emailed to the board, the overview of the Safe Routes to School program that through shared services, there's interest on the borough side to pursue recognition for the work that they're doing to make basically walking and biking safer and more appealing for students and families. And this is something that we're early in considering to pursue next steps toward as a board. And I just wanted to get a sense from my board colleagues if there were any lingering questions about what this program is or any concerns about continuing to have early conversations with the borough of working toward this on a timeline that makes sense in the context of a lot of other things going on.
Well, Jeff just reminded me that it's going to be on the Shared Services Committee meeting in September.
Which is open.
And I mean, at this point, I don't have any questions at this point, but I guess you guys will discuss it more.
Yeah, I do, but I'll bring it up to shared services.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's going to go through the committee, and then you guys report back to us.
I think it's a good idea, but I have a lot of questions about it.
Okay, all right. All right, so it sounds like, you're going to get some questions at the next Shared Services meeting.
Okay, that's excellent. And if anybody has any other questions that they, want to address at any time, please feel free to raise them at any point. Okay. I also wanted to ask the administration, I know, Nick, I appreciate the fact that we had a little bit of email about this. You mentioned that there will be a meeting about the REACH program as a follow-up to the conversations that came up at our summer meeting. I assume at a future education committee meeting, is that correct? That's the plan right now?
The plan was that at the last board meeting, we said we would report out on REACH in the fall. Once the teachers, administrators came back, Natalie and I, did some homework ourselves. Our education committee meeting, our next one is on October 4th. The agenda's already pretty tight. So it very well may be at a additional education committee meeting, a board meeting, a possible work session. Not sure what the venue will be, but it'll be at some point in the fall.
Okay, that's great. And that meeting will be to report back after you kind of investigate what's going on with the program at each of the schools to date. Is that correct, that understanding?
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, Emily, can I just butt in for 1 second regarding the REACH?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, because at our last meeting, this was brought up by one of the parents, and I do remember that it was not going to be in the fall, it was going to be the September meeting.
Our education committee meeting is October 4th.
Then that's only a couple of days later.
Right.
But to say that it's going to be in the fall, that's going to be way up until December. And then it's going to be too late to do whatever you need to do.
I understand completely, and whether we said September or the fall, we put it on September. We're starting school September 5th or 4th, whatever it is. We're closed 2 days the following week. We're closed another day the following week, and then we have our board meeting. So I could come back, but I don't want to rush to do our due diligence and look into REACH. I just don't want to rush it and come back and say, here's half of the material that we found and what we looked into. So I was just trying to give us enough time to come back and properly prepare and then present the REACH. I mean, if the board wants it at that September meeting.
No.
October, I would say in the October educational meeting, the reason being is, if the program is not being run as it should, and a lot of these children are not being taught in the manner that they should, then we're wasting precious time on their education.
Can I just clarify about the REACH?
Sure.
The only issue, and it's been an issue for a few years, when Michelle mentioned we lost $4 million 8 years ago, which calculated out as $32 million or $40 million, depending. So I think we bumped it a year in the grade level. So it's not like nobody's getting REACH or the program is in shambles. It's just not as widespread as we would like it. So I don't want the impression to go out that there's no REACH program or there's a huge problem with it. There are issues. It could be improved, yes. But I mean, I don't want Chicken Little, the sky is falling, and I don't want that taken away from this meeting. So if Nick needs a little more time to see us in October as opposed to September or whatever the next board meeting is, I don't think that should be an issue.
I agree.
And just to clarify, each year we give out a brochure that explains all the things we do in K-5 REACH. So we do have something that is supposed to be in place K-5, and we do stuff for students. All students in grade 3 get something. All students in the beginning half of grade 4
Can you send that home?
We do send it. I have. I mean, do you want
Yeah, board.
Absolutely. I shared it with you last year, I think, but I'm happy to share it with you.
Send it again, please.
Absolutely.
Because it's a hot topic now.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna, Natalie, I'm sorry.
That's
Are
okay.
you done, Mark? I'm sorry.
I am sure that something is being done. I'm just not sure that the manner of how it's being done is the way that necessarily should be.
And we certainly are looking into it by all means. And just before, I know Emily and Ron want to jump in, but there's our education committee meetings. We were discussing dyslexia and
I think REACH.
and REACH that is the other topic, October 4th.
That's why I said October.
That's what I
Well,
believe.
that's what I was saying.
Then we're talking about REACH October
Yes.
4th at the education committee meeting. I knew there was a second topic.
That's it.
Thank you.
All right. Emily, you have something else?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna stay on this topic. So, yes, I just want to reiterate that I hope that next group discussion we have on REACH is gonna go beyond what REACH is aspires to do, or kind of what the purpose of the program is in general. And Nick, I appreciate your saying that you are planning to go school by school to do due diligence around exactly how it's being implemented at each school, and to take the time to talk to staff as key stakeholders. I would love to see parents involved in that too, but there may not be time at this point, and maybe that's something that can be done later. But I think there's a broader issue too of, there's probably a long list of, a wish list of topics that would fall under the education committee at this point, like a backlog of things that the board would be interested in having an education committee meeting, or that the administration is thinking about bringing to the board for making progress toward longer term or medium term goals. And I just wanted to throw out the suggestion that when we meet for our September retreat, that might be a good opportunity for the board to have more input into what we think the most pressing topics for education committee meetings are for this academic year, and have kind of a plan in place to make sure that we're being systematic in the use of the time for that committee, and that it's meeting frequently enough that we're making progress for the things that we value. I think that might be helpful to avoid the kind of back and forth in the future, just to use some of our time to process topics for education committee meetings. So that's just a suggestion for the September retreat. And so just to then one last thing that kind of falls into this is also the priority we've had about looking to district-wide considerations for our music education. Really, something that I think my sense of the issue is that there's things that need to be done centrally. It's not that the schools alone can't address the kind of pipeline issues that filter all the way up to the high school. And so that's an example of something else that I think it would behoove us to have a dedicated education committee meeting once the administration has a better sense of what the various aspects of the issues are. And so I just wanted to raise that as another kind of thread that I know the administration is working on, but it would be great after our September retreat to be like, okay, the plan right now, unless something fundamental comes up, is that we're gonna talk about that probably at education committee in February. And I know that there's many board members who do not like to give the administration timeline, and I wouldn't see this as giving the administration timeline. I would see it as some kind of conversation between the board and the administration on what time is necessary, and to kind of just have a plan that everybody is aware of, so that we can move forward in a more systematic, planful way around these critical education considerations. That's all.
Well, hold on a minute. If I remember correctly, at the last meeting when we talked about adding some money to the music program, now that he was going to look into scheduling and pipeline, I mean, am I remembering that correctly?
You are. Yeah, we had said we were going, again, once the staff got back from the summer, we were going to speak with them. Again, we can present what we do in music. I'm not really certain what all the concerns are. I know, Emily, that you keep mentioning them. I'm not entirely clear exactly what you need from us, but we are happy to present to the board on who our staff is and what their roles are, and
I almost
the programs that we offer.
Natalie, that's not what I'm envisioning here. I'm glad to flesh that out more.
No, we're not going to do it now, Emily. We're not going to flesh out a whole music curriculum program tonight. So it's something that we've been talking about a lot of stuff for a long time. You have some ideas. Why don't you shoot them to Nick and Natalie, and we can talk about it at a future date.
I'm gonna go on mute again the month before. I just want to say that just philosophically, so we can all be clear on kind of like where I'm coming from, relative to where other people might be coming from, is that I think oftentimes we're so quick to jump to solutions, but we don't fully understand what the problems are in the first place. And so I'm a little bit more leaning toward like education committee meetings that give us a chance to not just present here are our solutions, but more of like, here's what we've done to understand exactly what the problems are, so we're better sure that the resources of money and time and thought that we're putting for solutions are
I think everybody around this table agrees with you, but but we, the board, very often do not give them enough time. I'm going to be frank with you. we say we want this next week, or 2 weeks from now, or a month from now, and there's the day-to-day business of running the district. There are a million things going on in this district, and whatever the music solution slash program slash problem study is going to take time. You're going to have the people here to do it. So I'm not sure what your timeline is like, but
Not my timeline, James. I just want there to be a conversation and communication around the timeline.
and it will be. It's on their radar, but it sounds to me like, and maybe I'm hearing you wrong, you would like a timeline about what are they going to do and when are they going to do it. Am I hearing that wrong?
I would like more of a timeline of what the topics for the education committee are going to be for the academic year.
Okay, well, that's going to be up to the administration and the chair. That's how the committee system works. And there's nothing wrong with you bringing up a topic to Mike or to Natalie and say, is this a possible topic we can talk about? But I don't see how we're going to, go out and plan education committee meetings into June.
I don't think it's unreasonable, but I might be a minority voice here. So I'm just going to put myself on mute and just let my comments stand for what they are.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ron?
No,
but Ron had his hand up first.
Oh, okay.
For real, I mean,
I can't
yes.
see that.
For real, I can't see that.
Okay, all right, Ron's up.
First of all, I don't understand. This is my 7th year on the board. I've been coming to meetings 5 years before that and everything else. We have programs in this thing, especially REACH, and any concern of any community member is important to every one of us on this board. But what I'm hearing, to me, this is me speaking, it seems like we have the worst program in the world, and it fell apart. And I understand, I agree with Gene. I know when we had budget cuts, we took it away from, I think, 2nd grade or 3rd grade, moved it up a little bit. But the program was still there. Now, I believe in always looking to improve any program we have in our district, or any part of our curriculum. I believe that wholeheartedly. I've spoken to our superintendent about complacency, where I think over the years we've gotten complacent in certain areas, and hopefully that'll change. But what I find a little kind of insulting is that people actually think the administration or board doesn't look at anything. You know what? Sometimes there are programs or there is things that are given in your district that don't meet the standards that your child needs, and you need to move on. There are people that send their child to private schools, Catholic schools, whatever they are, wind up coming back because they don't have the same type of curriculum or offer the same thing that we offer. Okay, so it works hand in hand. So that's a little bit bothering. I also find it very disturbing that some people will say that we don't look in as board members into things long enough, or this or that, or understand. You know, because somebody says there's an issue, how about we investigate what the issue is first? How about we find out what the problems are, and then you can get a solution to the problem. I know time and time again out there on the streets, I am presented with issues by parents about different things. First of all, I direct them to the proper authorities, whether it's to the superintendent first, to the assistant superintendent, the business administrator, or on and on. The principal, start at the principal, okay? But I don't jump to conclusions and bring everybody in and say, oh yeah, okay, let's start attacking. I'll bring it right up to the proper things myself. But it's just to say that, well, we don't look at things long enough and we make decisions. I'm just saying, for me personally, I take that as an insult, okay? Because I spend a lot of time and effort, as long as my fellow board members, of looking into what goes on in this district. Do we know everything that goes on every minute of the day in this district? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If you say you do, you're lying. But we only get to help solve the issues that we know about. And, you know, the whole music thing with the instruments and everything else, well, let me tell you something. I believe in this music program as much as anybody. My children were involved in it. I'm still aggravated that we lost 3rd grade strings 10 years ago when it got cut. Okay? I still am aggravated about it, and if Mr. Watson was here, I'd still break his chops about it. He knows that. The point is that if there's broken instruments, if there's pianos that need to be tuned or something like that, we have protocol. There's people that have jobs, and if they're not doing their jobs, they need to be reprimanded by the superintendent, who's the CEO. But to have people just come here in mobs and stuff sometimes, and like, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, or other people, saying that, oh, you don't do this. That's not the way it is. We're not perfect people. We're volunteers. We do the best we can. But I can speak for everybody on this board has the heart in the right place for every child in this district. And I'm just really insulted by some other people, I'm sorry, that make comments or something, and different things go on, that, like, I agree with Elise, you know, the survey is great, lets everybody know what it is, what everybody's opinions were. But I just had to get to it with my mind, because the REACH program is a good program. Can it be improved? Absolutely. Any program can be improved. But it doesn't mean that we have the worst thing in the world. And you know what, I'm saying, if my child is that extremely smart, maybe there's not enough challenges here, I need to take him to a different place. But that's my decision as a parent. But I know I will be working with the administration along with my fellow board members to improve every program that we can every year and look at it every year. So I just had to say that because it was just really bothering me. I'm sorry.
Thanks, Ron. No, Mary and then Elise. And then
Yes.
then
Mary, do you have
we're-
your hand up, Mary? I didn't see your hand up.
I'm waving it like crazy.
Okay.
Your neighbor's
I'm
waving back.
it. Look, I mean, you must be feeling the pressure of my waving. First, I do want to say, Ron, that I really do concur with a lot of what you said and feel the same way. I think sometimes we jump to conclusions even on the board, and we fail to ask the appropriate questions to the administration. And I know every time I've asked, I've always gotten clarification about a lot of misunderstandings, and I think maybe we all of us need to start thinking about asking the proper questions to the administration. I think all of us need to sometimes say to ourselves, maybe I should ask this question before the public meeting, because sometimes it's such a simple answer and it's such a good answer that these things don't even have to be brought up at a public meeting. Just one of the things I'm thinking about. The other thing that what I originally wanted to say before Ron waxed eloquent was at our board retreat, which, by the way, is the 29th. I did clarify that. That's the date Matt has.
Yeah,
It is
I
not
to him today
available on
too.
the 21st.
He's got it down for the 29th.
Yeah, but at that board retreat, to address Emily's thought, there's no reason that we couldn't put together a list of some of the topics that we're wondering if and when they're going to be addressed. Emily did say she's not looking for a timeline, and I think that's very important, because what Jean said is exactly correct. We have to be very careful about the kind of timeline we're imposing on the central office when they are under their own timeline of running a multi-million-dollar school district. So, you know, we have to be a little thoughtful. We all want to know things, all of us, and we all want to have certain topics addressed at education meetings. And if somebody says it's going to be at an October meeting and it turns out that's not the right time, well, okay then, that's not the right time. But it would be okay for us at the board meeting, if we wanted to just brainstorm some of the topics. And Nick, I assume you're going to be with us at the board retreat?
Yes.
He's making
So just brainstorm some of the topics that we are interested in hearing more about. I don't see any problem with.
Thank you. Mary, Elise, and then we're gonna recess.
I just wanted to say that I think part of the problem is the way there's an assumption, which, you know, we're not supposed to assume things. And it seems to me that, you know, the way some of the questions are being asked is, the assumption is that you're not administratively doing what you should be doing. People are coming from a place of, well, we should do this or that, when, you know, you might already be doing this or that. And I have a problem with that, making assumptions that things aren't being done, you know, at the public meeting, and saying, instead of saying, hey, did you check into this? It's, well, I know that we're not checking into this, so I think that we should check into this because, and you know, whatever. So I think that that's part of the problem, is the approach to the questions. And I also agree with Ron and wanted to support him in that, because I think that that's a huge issue. It's a very negative spin on everything, and I, for one, am not a negative person, and it annoys me when when we go around the table and it just seems like there's a lot of negativity. And I just wanted to share, like Ron.
Thank you. Okay, this time, all right, so the retreat is 9/29, right, Mary?
That's correct.
Sorry? September 29th, 8:30 at the high school library. All right, and the September meeting is
20.
Thursday, the 20th.
the 20th. But that'll be at the high school cafeteria. with the new staff. 7:30.
But it's-
It's September meeting, is that usually 7?
Because we do all the.
7:30.
We're not introducing new staff?
you're introducing-
Oh, yeah, well, right, 7 o'clock.
We
for
have
new
to
staff.
change the location in the minute, in the
Yeah.
agenda. It'll be at the high
It's
school.
gonna be at the high school.
Yeah,
so you
so it's
introduce-
7, right?
yeah.
Yeah, 7, yeah, for
Seven.
introducing new
What day?
staff.
What day?
20th.
September 20th.
September 20th.
Thank you.
7 PM.
7. Meet the new staff and then we'll get into the real meeting at 7:30.
I already got it on my computer.
I'm
Ooh,
so
look
proud
at
of
you.
you.
Yes, the education meeting just popped in.
There you go.
7 to 8, I already replied that I will attend.
Inbox.
Okay, that being said, we're gonna go into closed session. We have personnel matters, we have student matters, we have contract matters. Have a motion to recess into closed session.
So, second.
What time
All
is
in
the
favor?
meeting? 7?
Aye.
The high school?
Aye.